The Speaker of the Libyan Parliament, Akila Salah Issa, is on a 3-day official visit to Algeria at the invitation of the President of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Boughali. Akila was welcomed on his arrival at Houari Boumediene International Airport by Brahim Boughali. In a statement, Akila Salah said that Libya is counting on the support of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, and the Algerian people to get out of its crisis, which is coming to an end. In a keynote speech, he said, quote, "We appreciate Algeria's role as President and people in supporting their Libyan brothers in resolving the crisis in Libya. We also rely heavily on Algeria's role in the international community to help expel foreign forces and mercenaries from Libya and to prepare the presidential and legislative elections in time. The fact is that we have many issues in common with regard to fighting and stopping illegal immigration from Libya. We say that this process will end once Libya is stabilized and a president who will represent the will of all Libyans will be elected and will be the president of all Libyans. And we said that the Libyan House of Representatives has fulfilled its duties." End of quote. Prime Minister of Finance Ayman bin Abdurrahman chaired a government meeting on Saturday. The government members examined a draft organic law, 2 draft laws and 2 draft executive decrees. A draft law on the fight against illegal speculation, a project initiated by the Justice Minister in application of the directives of the President of the Republic. The government heard a presentation by the Communication Minister on the draft organic law on information, the draft law on audiovisual. The government also heard a presentation by the Public Works Minister relating to 2 texts, the draft executive decree relating to the realization of the doubling of the province road linking Hrawa to Lad Musa, and the draft executive decree bearing declaration of public utility relating to the realization of the works of protection of doubling the province road in Draria. The government heard a communication presented by the Higher Education and Scientific Research Minister on the preparations for the beginning of the university year 2021-2022. Finally, another communication was presented by the Minister of Vocational Training and Education on the preparations for the next vocational training year.
The Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad Minister Ramtal Mamra participated via video conference in the 11th Ministerial Meeting of World Counter-terrorism Forum. He harked back to the role and experience of Algeria in the fight against terrorism and the security situation in the African continent. Lamamra says the geostrategic points of the forum for the 10 coming years revolve around 3 basic notes, notably including terrorism, which spares no country. In order to fight it, there is no alternative to strengthening international cooperation and solidarity. Algeria, like other member countries of this forum, contributed to the development and elaboration of this strategic vision. In the years to come, my country maintains a strong national, regional and international commitment in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism. For the next 10 years, the World Forum for the Fight Against Terrorism, just like the UN and its specialized institutions as well as the other international regional organizations concerned, have to include in their priority 3 important dimensions of this common fight against terrorists, such as an accompanying solidarity and support to Africa in its effort and choices in its fight against terrorism, an institutional commitment in the fight against Islamophobia, which is also another form of violent extremism, and finally the strengthening of the place and role of law in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism.
Algeria celebrated on Friday, October 8th, the National Day of Diplomacy, a day that played an important role in the preservation of national sovereignty and has succeeded in registering the assets of Algeria, as well as many achievements, namely the settlement of conflicts by peaceful means, dialogue and negotiation, the promotion of human rights and fundamental freedoms. On this occasion, Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Minister Ramtal highlighted the efforts of Algeria in favor of the establishment of peace and security in the region. According to Mr. Lamamra, the diplomacy of our country has other missions, and we must watch over the interests of our nation. Algeria is also known for its support and its active engagement in the defense of people in struggle for the exercise of their legitimate right to self-determination. Mr. Lamamra pleaded as well for a vigilant and proactive diplomacy. I would like to convey the President of the Republic's congratulations, as well as his encouragement and support for diplomatic work with an aim to serve our country, Algeria. In addition, the minister called for the establishment of bridges of communication and dialogue with the children of the foreign Algerian community so that they can play their positive role in national building.
A meeting was organized by several historians and associative members in Paris for the recognition of October 17, 1961 massacres against the Algerian demonstrators who came out asking for their freedom after more than a century of occupation and oppression. The recognition of the state's crime and the reopening of all the archives are the main goals of this meeting, led by organizations and associations from all over France. This date is very important. It's our history and the history of our parents. It's a memory of combat and fight against racism and discrimination. It is worth mentioning that a big march is planned on October 17th at the crime scene at the Rex Cinema in Les Grands Boulevards of Paris to commemorate this historical day.
A meeting was organized by the Independent National Elections Authority, ANI, in collaboration with the National Radio, to discuss media performance in supporting electoral deadlines, with the objective of ensuring the credibility and regularity of the electoral process. The chairman of the ANI, Mohamed Shorfi, announced the establishment of a follow-up monitoring cell of the relation with the media to facilitate their work and provide them with the information related to the progress of the electoral operation. The ANI's chairman stated that information is necessary to guarantee equality between candidates and ensure the credibility and regularity of the electoral process, and avoid any favoring of one candidate over another. According to Mohamed Shorfi, Algeria's voice has grown louder since the election of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, and members of the National People's Assembly, or Upper House of Parliament, through transparent and democratic elections, an achievement which must be reinforced via the success of the next local elections.
102 new confirmed cases of coronavirus and 4 new deaths were recorded during the last 24 hours in Algeria, while 77 people have recovered and have been discharged. This was announced by the Ministry of Health, Population and Hospital Reform.